This week, the Trump family's crypto firm announced a $1.5 billion digital coin deal, another investment in a venture that's already raked in millions for President Trump and his family. But crypto is just one of many ways the First family is making money. There are merch sales, a meme coin, social media platform, of course, real estate projects in the Middle East. It's a dizzying number of deals that leave a huge question. Quote, the number. How much is President Trump pocketing off the presidency? That is the title of the piece you see there in The New Yorker, where staff writer David Kirkpatrick tried to answer that question. And David joins me now. Thank you so much for being here. Did you get an answer to your question? What is the number?
I came up with the best answer I could at press time, and it was $3.4 billion. Astonishingly, it's probably gone up since then.
All right, folks, so this is an important follow-up to a video we did a couple of days ago about a bombshell investigative report confirming that Donald Trump has made about $3.4 billion off the American people in the most staggering corruption we have ever seen by far in the United States. And in response to this report, Trump's children, his sons, Don Jr. and Eric, got really defensive about Fox News. And so we're going to see the CNN interview in which the reporter addresses Trump's corruption and the backlash he got on Fox News from Don Jr. and Eric. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Folks, I also want to say before we play the rest of this, and again, we'll unpack it together, it is so damn important that you care about this. And if you don't care about it, make yourself care. Corruption is something we should punish in this country. And to the extent that all politicians are corrupt, please understand, Trump is objectively orders of magnitude more corrupt than the most corrupt politician you can think of. And it should matter because we're only 6 months into his second administration, making $3.4 billion off you and me and our loved ones, while there is so much struggling in the United States, should be disqualifying and it should be punished. So let's continue.
Okay, so let's break down that eye-popping number. More than $3 billion with a B, crypto. That's where you identify most of the profits. How much have the president and his family made in crypto, and how?
Well, what's most remarkable is the number of transactions, the number of deals, the number of ways that the family has sought to make money. And I should tell you, when I set out, my method here was first, look at some stream of income and decide, one, is it coming from the presidency? Does it depend on the presidency? And two, how much have they made out of it? So
I want to stop right there. This is important. Please understand that in this report, which again, we went over in a video a couple of days ago, the whole thing is long as hell. You should read it. Kirkpatrick is not counting Trump's extant wealth. If he made his money before becoming president, he's not counting it, nor should it count. Okay, so some people will be like, oh, so Trump was a billionaire before he, left out or before he became president. Kirkpatrick's counting that. No, he's not. He has fastidiously avoided counting things that we could reasonably suspect have nothing to do with Trump being president.
In that category, Truth Social and the company that holds it, Trump Media and Technology Group, is definitely depending on the presidency. In the last month, the biggest chunk of what I'm calling their money from crypto has come through Trump Media and Technology Group. It has a stock that is basically a kind of financial indicator of the mood about the president. It's a meme stock, in other words. Stock trades only on how people feel about the president. But they've taken that meme stock and they've swapped it for cash and Bitcoin. So they have $3.1 billion of cash and Bitcoin on the books. The president holds 42% of that company. His share of that is more than $1 billion. So that's a $1 billion bump in his net worth just in the last couple months.
Eric and Donald Trump Jr. responded to your reporting about all of this. They were on Fox this morning. I want to play what they said and get your response.
Brian, it's infuriating. We had nowhere to go. Capital One stripped 300 bank accounts from me, 300 in the middle of the night. We didn't have a damn choice. Trump was the only guy that was actually a businessman before that. Are we supposed to stop running our businesses? Are we supposed to stop doing anything? He's not involved in these things. We are running those businesses as we have.
So again, we're about to see Kirkpatrick's response, but right there, this number and the news of Trump's corruption is so staggering. I would still argue it's underreported. People aren't paying nearly as much attention to it as they should, but it's still itself so scandalous that even Fox, which tries to silo off uncomfortable things, felt the need to address it with Don Jr. and Eric. And that response was pathetic. Well, I mean, what are we just like? We're supposed to be out on the streets, starving? Please, you all are Nepo babies to the highest order. You are rich. Your children will be rich. Your children's children's children will be rich, assuming you guys don't fuck it up spectacularly. No, you are not entitled to make millions and billions of dollars off the presidency. And folks, again, before we get Kirkpatrick's response, just really want to emphasize this. I want you to imagine that you swap the last name for Trump and you put Biden or Obama, and you had Obama's daughters, I'm blanking on the name, Malia Trump, I think, or you have Hunter Biden sitting there on MSNBC. So swap Fox for MSNBC, swap Don and Eric for Hunter and Ashley Biden or Obama's two daughters. And imagine that they gave such a fucking tone-deaf answer. Like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, like, this is capitalism. We're just making money. Both the right and the left would be apoplectic with rage. But Don Jr. and Eric and Donald Trump are banking on your indifference. What they are hoping is that you and I don't give a shit about this. And it's Trump. Don't fall for it. Be outraged. This is corruption, the likes of which we've never seen. And that answer, that defense of it, was utterly unpersuasive.
David?
Well, those are points that the family's made before. In the first part, in a kind of a garbled way, what Eric Trump's saying there is that they got into crypto because they feel they were blackballed by the big banks. What he's leaving out is the banks that stopped doing business with the family did so after the attack on the Capitol of January 6th. And other banks did step in. The other point that Don Jr. is making, which is that they're a business family, they should be able to stay in business. When I went through their income streams, I set aside all the money that's their old business. The hotels, things like the hotel, all the deals that grew out of their old business. Okay, fine. A lot of people might say they should have divested from that, but fine.
And they should have divested from it. But again, I want you to what I'm trying to convey is this is a conservative estimate because Kirkpatrick is actually bending over backwards to not count things that existed before Trump became president that could have still benefited from it tangentially. He's trying to be conservative for their benefit. He's even grading them on a curve. He's trying to pre-butt their lame reputations, and it still results in a $3.4 billion pocketing off the backs of the American people.
I'm only talking about ways that they're trying to monetize the presidency, ways that in one way or the other, they're trying to cash in specifically on the fact that Donald Trump is in the Oval Office. Nobody's done that before, and that's what's so exceptional here.
That is such an important distinction. I'm glad that you differentiated between the fact that, as Don Jr. said, he was a businessman. Of course he was. And the businesses he had before he ran for office and what they have done since. Speaking of that, there are a lot of big real estate deals that you wrote about. There are smaller ventures as well, private merch sales. In fact, you point out in your piece, you can buy a $40 MAGA hat here on his official campaign site, which that money goes to the campaign, or you can buy it via the Trump Organization for $55. That money does not go to the campaign. I don't think I realized that you can buy it on Trump or, as part of his business, the clearly political merch.
Yeah, I was really dumbstruck when I realized that on his financial disclosure forms, disclosing his personal income, he's including sales of what look like campaign merchandise, the kinds of things that were I a Trump supporter, I would buy thinking I was supporting the MAGA cause and its candidates. But it's actually going into his own pocket. That's, I'm pretty sure, unprecedented. What readers are going to want to know after they read the article is, all these payments, is any of them an effort to buy influence, a kind of quid pro quo? And those things are very, very hard to prove. But for me, the takeaway is that given the astonishing rate at which they're making this money, given the obvious zeal to make more money, it does make the question more pressing. You know, if you're making a payment to them, do you have reason to believe that they're going to give you something in return?
Folks, this is a bombshell. I know we did this video before. It didn't get a lot of views, and that's okay. But the reason I'm still doubling down on this is because we should care. Okay, Donald Trump is the most staggeringly, blatantly corrupt politician, certainly in modern American history, and he is the most staggeringly corrupt president in all of U.S. history. This is shocking. This is beyond the pale, and we're only 6 months into his second term. We have 3.5 more years. If he's made $3.4 billion off the presidency, monetizing the presidency in ways that has made both liberal and conservative ethicists just blush. If he's been able to do that, what will it look like in another 3.5 years? This is disgusting. It's despicable. It should result in political punishment, and it should result in legal punishment as well. Folks, we have to criminalize corruption from our elected officials, particularly the President of the United States, but also including senators and governors and representatives and Supreme Court justices, et cetera, and so forth. So please, check this out. Check that report out from the New Yorker. Again, I will share the link in the description, and it'll be the top pinned comment. Check it out, because this is something that should matter to everybody, especially at a time when Trump is deliberately provoking actions in the form of these disastrous tariffs, which are causing prices for you and your loved ones to skyrocket. You should give a damn about corruption even under the best of times. Even if you are making tons of money, it should bother you if Trump is corrupt. But the fact of the matter is Trump is screwing you and your loved ones and the rest of us while also raking in Scrooge McDuck levels of money. We should condemn it. And it says something, again, that even Fox News felt the need to bring it up to Don Jr. and Eric, and John Jr. and Eric had an utterly disastrous and unpersuasive response to it. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.